My name is Amy Ayers, and I'm a 4th grade math teacher in Texas. This screencast is about teaching 4th grade math students to interpret remainders. So often in mathematics, students get bogged down and overloaded with all the information given to them. When they finally master a skill such as division, they feel a sense of confidence. Then they are thrown a curveball and given numbers that do not divide evenly. Often I see my students shut down and shy away from such problems. This year I have been using a more conceptual approach to my teaching that has allowed students to visualize what is really happening when there are numbers left over in a division problem. As teachers, we know our students learn best when they are collaborating. Students need the opportunity to work together and hear their peers explain concepts. However, typically we have students interact in groups on fun, game-like assignments because those activities lend themselves to cooperative learning. But what about conceptual learning? How do we use collaboration in those settings? According to the Century 21 Skills Map for Mathematics, students are expected to demonstrate creativity and innovation. The intended outcome is for students to compare different ways of approaching traditional mathematical problems and find innovative solutions using practical examples when appropriate. In mathematics, this can sometimes be challenging. Often, we have students use different approaches, and we can encourage them to come up with innovative solutions. It's the practical examples that becomes a problem. Students are taught a skill and an algorithm to accomplish the skill without really knowing why they get the intended outcome. They're able to dictate why they got the answer they got, but they can't go any further than that. In this lesson, students will be split into 3 groups. Each group will receive the same information about students riding a van for a school field trip. Previously, students have been introduced to division, both conceptually and using the standard algorithm. In this problem, the total number of students will not be divisible by the number of students that will fit in each van. Each group of students will be expected to solve the van problem by interpreting the remainder in a different way. Students will also be expected to explain their chosen method of problem solving, including their selected strategies, both visually and orally. In addition to solving the van problem, students will also be expected to interpret the remainder. One group will ignore the remainder, giving their answer in the least number of vans needed. They will have to dictate why they came to that conclusion and give another example of when a remainder would be ignored. A second group of students will add 1 to their answer to include the remainder. They too will dictate how they came to that conclusion and give another example of when this same approach would be used. The third group of students will use the remainder as their answer, explaining when this approach would be accurate, while also giving another example. This lesson will stretch students' cognitive thinking. It will require them to think analytically and collaboratively. It will also encourage them to learn how to come to one conclusion as a group. It will also require them to represent their information in a number of ways and extend their thinking using their own examples.